Eventually, you go on, you become represented by Brent Taylor at Triada US. How long does it take to get from where you start writing seriously to where you get that offer of representation?
About 3 years.
That's not too bad at all. Was that just a standard query, or did you meet him out and about? How'd you go about finding your agent?
Okay, well, get ready. Are you ready for a slight fairy tale story?
I love a slight fairy tale story.
Okay, here's the deal. In 2014, I drafted my first novel. Then I revised it and I thought it was awesome. And I sent it out to agents. And while I got a few nibbles in terms of full requests, pretty much it was no, 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 no. I was like, that's fine. I was like, I need to get better at this. So I kept revising it. Okay. And in 2016, I pitched it at the New England SCBWI conference as part of Pitchapalooza. And I had a really good pitch. I won Pitchapalooza and I got a free ticket to send this to a couple of agents and, a couple of editors on this panel. And then I was like, oh, wow, I need to make the novel match the amazing pitch I wrote for it.
Sure.
So then I worked on it some more. And in 2000, and it took a good 9 months or so. And I was like, this is it. This is really good. They're going to want it. So I sent it out to those agents and some other agents, and I got really great feedback, and I got really, high full request rate, all this stuff. And then, as often happens, nothing happened. I didn't hear from people. And I was like, and you're in this horrible state where you're like, I don't know whether I should nudge them or whether that's just going to prompt them to say no. And you're just like, whatever. So I just I just kept trying to query. And it was a really difficult time for me for lots of reasons. And I have to tell you that not hearing from people really was demoralizing because I felt like this novel was really, really good. And, but other stuff happened in my life. And I was in my kitchen one day and I was talking to my kids and I was like, I don't know why I am bothering with this trying to pursue publication thing. I just wish, I should probably just quit and just do my real job and not worry about this anymore. And my kids, who were, in high school or close to high school at that point, they said, Mom, we think your stories are really awesome. And we think that other people are going to think that way too. So you shouldn't give up. And I was like, fine. After all my advice, all these years to you to not give up on what you want to do, fine. I'm going to have to take your advice, right? So I just kind of was going along. And then there's this writing mentorship program called Pitch Wars. I don't know if you've heard of it. It is for novelists. So it's for people who write middle grade and YA and adult. And the idea is that somebody who's more experienced, either authors or editors or booksellers or whoever, more experience in the publishing industry can mentor writers who don't have agents yet. So I submitted my novel. I was really, waffling about this, but one of my friends, my critique partner, said, what do you have to lose? Even if you don't get in, you've still got, agent interest in this. But if you do get in, maybe this is an opportunity to make your book that much better. And maybe that will be the thing that, pushes you over the edge. And I was like, fine. So I entered, and to my amazement, I was selected as a mentee. I think there were 180 of us, and there were over 3,000 applicants that year. I had the perfect mentor, this amazing writer named Joy McCullough, and she loves Shakespeare. She has a theater background. She loves Shakespeare. My novel, Midsummer's Mayhem, is basically a middle grade take on A Midsummer Night's Dream. It's influenced by A Midsummer Night's Dream. And she had great advice. She loved my book. She loved my writing. And her big advice was to get rid of a main character. And I was like, oh, really? Talk about killing your darlings. I was like, okay. So I was like, I hear what you're saying. And then I was like, but I don't but he's so funny. And she's like, there are other ways to, bring the humor back into this. And I was like, fine. So I was so terrified that I started 2 different revisions, one with him and one without him. And within 3 chapters, I was like, he's got to go. So this book that I had worked on for 3 years, I rewrote it in 5 weeks. Like I had to rewrite basically every scene because he was in almost every scene. And I was like, okay. And I got to tell you, it was way better. It was way better. So at the end of that mentorship, which was about 2 months, there is an agent showcase. And agents basically read a little short pitch in the beginning of the manuscript. And then they comment, like in a blog, they just comment and say, send me the whole thing or whatever it is. And so I did that. I got a bunch of requests. And I sent them, we had to wait until that whole thing was over. The day that I could send them, I sent it at 5 p.m. And the wonderful person who's going to become my agent literally replied right away saying, I can't wait to read this. And at 8:30, he emailed me and said, we need to talk. I absolutely love your book. And I was like, what? And I literally ran around my house going, ah, and my daughter was like, what happened? And I was like, you want to talk? And she was like, well, you need to reply to him, don't you? So we talked the next day, and that was it. And that was the beginning of awesomeness. We sold Midsummer's Mayhem and 4 picture books that year, the first year we started working together.
Wow.
Yeah.
I definitely want to talk more about that. It occurs to me that I should quickly remind esteemed audience so that they can receive some of the same wisdom you received, that they can listen to author Joy McCullough on this very show. Check back on episode 68. We had a wonderful conversation about all things writerly. And Mr. Taylor, if you're listening, come on the show and we'll hear your advice as well.